This is Second Class Citizen written by Bushi Emejita, Chapter 8, titled Role Acceptance. I am Folahan Oyelekan. In the previous chapter, that is Chapter 7, we discussed the problem that Francis and his wife are having concerning accommodation, and they visited Pam Noble's house, and eventually they were given the accommodation. Let's now go to Chapter 8 and see what happens next. So weeks after Ada, Francis and their two young children are settled in at the Nobles. One day, Ada feels reluctant to stand up and go to work. She is unusually heavy, but she must be at the library by 9:30. She envies Francis, who is still snoring on the bed. She feels like kicking him on the bed, but instead, she's the one that is kicked by the baby in her womb. She's expecting the baby in early December, but she told them in an office that it is February, so she will have enough money till she resumes back after the delivery. Ada puts all the responsibilities on her head so that her husband has an easy ride in his studies. Ada gets herself prepared and hurried to Kentish Town Station, but unknowingly to her, the railmen are on strike. There is no means of hearing the news because they don't watch television or mix with people, except the Jehovah's Witness people who paid them a visit. Other people also form a crowd at the station. A gentleman leaves his seat for Ada. No tray is in sight, and gradually the crowds are reducing in number. Ada feels somehow favored by the strike, but thinks of how Francis will take it if she does not go to work because they need money. She prays that Francis believes in him. She prays that Francis believes in her as he plans to pretend to be in pain, though the baby is no more kicking. She remembers the role of her mother-in-law when she was in labor while delivering Titi. This is a flashback. The woman told her that it is the coward that screams during childbirth. That is, a woman that is a coward. They are the ones that scream when they are delivering their baby. During Vicky's time, there was no mother-in-law to guide her. She was on her own. On getting home, Ada tells Francis about the strike by the railmen, but Francis does not believe it. He then asks Ada if that's the story she was cooking up when she looked down at him in the morning, when she thought he was sleeping. He tells Ada to think of another story. Ada then thinks that she could have chosen the screaming alternative, but fears being put on guard by the midwives. That is why she is determined not to show it when the baby starts kicking again. Francis continues with the sermon of the virtuous woman. Ada does not take him very seriously because she feels that a spoiled man like Francis does not deserve a virtuous woman. The kicking of the baby does not make her breathe well because she feels as if the child is lying across her, kicking her ribs. Francis discovers that Ada does not believe his sermons. He then goes deeper into the Bible, talking about Adam and Eve. Ada then condemns how people preach from their Bible to suit their purpose, like Francis is doing. Ada rushes out of the room to Dr. Hussein's surgery at the Crescent. The snow that falls over the night still clings to the ground. This makes it difficult for Ada to walk well. The people passing wonder why she walks like that. She finally gets to the surgery and sits uncomfortably on a chair in a corner. She fixes her eyes on a poster on the wall that has the ribs of a woman drawn on it campaigning against smoking. It is Ada's turn to see the doctor, but she urges the woman that came after her to go. The waiting room is now empty. It is only the domestic woman that is there. The voices of the doctor and the woman that came after Ada and alerted the doctor about Ada's condition is later heard. Ada is later led to the theater and she is examined on a chair because she cannot climb the bed. The doctor then tells her that she will have a baby in less than 24 hours if all goes well, The doctor blames her for not having phone for the ambulance to convey her to the hospital. Ada is already in agreement with her husband to have the baby at home to save them some expenses, including what she will buy for the confinement. Also, the £6 they will give her if she has the baby at home will be useful. That means if the baby is born at home, they will give her £6. Ada tells the doctor that she will have the baby at home and not in the hospital. The doctor tries to convince her that the hospital is more convenient for her to have the baby. Ada cannot tell the doctor that they chose to have the baby at home because of the £6 she will be given. The doctor urges her to go home and that she will call the midwife for her. Ada manages to get home. She forgot to take her key along while she was leaving home. It is while waiting for the doctor to be open for her. It is while waiting for the door to be open for her that the midwife, who has been trying to locate her, meets her. Ada is bleeding already in the presence of Francis. The senior midwife is English, while the assistant is Japanese. Ada is beckoned to man the bed in the room. They carry out some tests on her. They then realize that her case cannot be handled in the room. Ada also is already seeing double. The baby is too big for her to have by herself. She's being rushed to the hospital for an operation with an ambulance. Ada is operated on and the bouncing baby boy is brought out safely. Ada feels herself in a trance while coming back to life. She is in a different world. When she finally comes around, she views those that surround her. They look like angels because they dress in white, smiling at her. Ada thanked the doctor that did the operation with her eyes as she is still weak to raise her body. As a result of the operation carried out on her, she is still weak. She asks for her baby and is brought to her. She then thanks God that the baby is brought out in time. She smiles and sleeps off in the University College Hospital on Goa Street. So this is the end of this chapter. So we meet in the next chapter. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please hit the subscription button so that whenever I release any video, you will be notified. Thank you.